There's a moment, maybe late at night, scrolling through Pinterest with one hand wrapped around a cup of tea, when you see that image. The bedroom that feels both impossibly beautiful and somehow doable. The vanity bathed in soft light, layered with perfume bottles and intention. And suddenly, you're wondering why your space doesn't quite feel like you yet. Why it's functional, but not inspiring. Lived in, but not loved. Here's the truth. Aesthetic doesn't mean artificial. And creating a space that feels like a Pinterest board brought to life doesn't mean starting over or spending a fortune. It's about understanding what draws you in. Light, texture, ritual, and weaving those details into your daily routine. In this video, I'll walk you through elegant, achievable upgrades for your room and vanity that feel personal, intentional, and yes, aesthetic. Stick around because you'll surely love how this turns out. Finding the vision. Before we touch a single throw pillow or light fixture, we start with something quieter. Intention. What do you want your room to feel like? Calm and minimal? Romantic and soft? Cozy but tailored? Defining the emotion behind your space gives the entire transformation direction. It's not about trends, it's about alignment. A friend of mine once said that she wanted her bedroom to feel like a Sunday morning in Paris. Not a single design term in that sentence. And yet, I instantly knew what she meant. Linen bedding, soft gold touches, an old mirror, coffee on the nightstand. When you design for a mood, your space becomes more personal. So before you do anything else, ask yourself, what do I want this room to feel like at 7 a.m., at 10 p.m.? For me, the answer was clear. I wanted peace, softness, a kind of gentle order that supports both quiet mornings and slow evenings. I turned to Pinterest with intention, not to copy, but to collect clues. I looked for patterns in what drew me in. Natural textures, soft edges, warm lighting, layered neutrals. I saved only what made me breathe a little easier. That's how I knew I was on the right track. And once you know what you're designing toward, it's time to clear the way. Declutter with purpose. Every transformation starts with a reset. But this isn't just the usual throw everything out advice. This is about choosing what deserves to stay. If it doesn't support your new vision, if it doesn't spark some joy, beauty, or function, thank it and let it go, just as Marie Kondo so wisely teaches. You're not just cleaning, you're curating. Take your surfaces first. Nightstands, vanities, shelves. If everything's covered, nothing stands out. One of my clients had a beautiful antique comb from her grandmother buried under eyeshadow palettes and receipts. Now it's the centerpiece of her vanity. The goal here is to let your space breathe. You can't transform chaos into elegance, so remove, rearrange, and create space. Because our next step is about choosing the exact tones that will carry your new look. Choose your palette. A Pinterest-worthy space almost always has one thing in common: visual harmony. That doesn't mean every item matches. It means the colors feel like they're in conversation. Soft neutrals, earthy tones, muted pastels. Choose a palette of 3 to 5 shades that complement each other and repeat throughout the space. When I redid my own bedroom, I chose creamy ivory, dusty rose, a soft terracotta, and warm wood. The bedding, the curtains, the little ceramic tray on my vanity, they all echoed those tones. It doesn't look matchy-matchy. It looks intentional. That's the key. And don't forget, your palette affects how the room feels. Soft blues evoke calm, warm neutrals invite coziness, and deep greens create a grounded, natural feel. Let your vision guide your colors, then let those colors guide your next decisions. And nothing makes a color scheme sing quite like a well-chosen focal wall. Create a focal wall. Texture is what brings soul to a space. Without it, even the prettiest palette can fall flat. Every beautiful room has a visual anchor, something that catches the eye and draws you in. A focal wall adds structure without overwhelming. You can paint one wall a moodier shade, add removable wallpaper, install wood paneling, or even hang a statement piece of art. The goal is simple: to create a moment. For one client in her mid-20s, we added vertical wood slats in a warm oak tone behind her bed. It instantly made the space feel elevated, like a boutique hotel. And on a budget, peel and stick wallpaper can do wonders. A subtle floral or soft geometric in muted tones can completely shift the atmosphere. Your focal wall sets the tone for everything else. It whispers, "This room has style." And once it's in place, your vanity zone becomes the perfect next transformation point. Vanity Makeover begins. For years, my vanity was functional but uninspiring. A plain desk near the window with good light but bad energy. It is cluttered with mismatched items from tangled necklaces, missing earrings, to expired beauty products. So I cleared the surface completely. Instead of replacing it, we gave it a second life. The drawers were painted a soft grayish, and we swapped the knobs for antique-style brass pulls that added character instantly. Above the desk, we mounted a vintage mirror I found in a local shop. I also added a curved-edge organizer and a vanity chair that feels like sitting on a cloud. It felt like a small luxury hotel suite, except it was still my home. Soft fairy lights framed it, not too bright, just enough to glow in the evenings. We organized skincare into a woven tray, makeup into sleek acrylic drawers, and added a ceramic brush holder for daily tools. I styled the surface like a little altar, a delicate ceramic tray for daily makeup, a candle I only light in the morning, and a stack of 2 vintage fashion books to lift a bud vase of greenery. I even tucked a sheer curtain around the window to diffuse the harsh morning light. The difference was instant. I now want to sit there each day, not just to get ready, but to slow down. This corner began to feel like a ritual space, not just a spot for routines. And next, we found smart, affordable ways to complete the look without overspending. This change rippled outward. Suddenly, the rest of the room had to rise to the same level, starting with the bed itself. Budget finds and DIYs. Great design doesn't require a large budget, only a trained eye and a little creativity. We sourced many pieces secondhand or locally. The vanity chair came from a thrift store and was reupholstered with leftover fabric. The lamp was plug-in type, elevated with linen shades. My bed used to be practical but flat, cotton sheets, 1 too many pillows, and a sad gray throw I kept for no good reason. After upgrading the vanity, it felt out of place. So I stripped everything down and started fresh. Warm ivory linen sheets, a light taupe quilt, and 2 accent pillows in a soft shell pink. I swapped the sad throw for a textured knit one and let it drape imperfectly at the end of the bed. Effortless elegance. I also added a narrow bench, nothing flashy, just a wooden piece where I can lay out tomorrow's outfit or sip my tea on weekend mornings. It anchors the space and adds a layer of intentionality that wasn't there before. Just a quick pause here, because I'd love to hear from you. What small change or affordable find made the biggest difference in how your space feels? Sometimes it's the quiet details that make everything come together. Share yours in the comments below. With the bed transformed and elevated to match the vanity, the final piece of the physical puzzle was the floor beneath it. Anchor with rugs. The floors in my room are warm oak, but after redoing the vanity and bed, they felt visually unfinished. So I brought in a low-pile rug, cream with the faintest grid texture, subtle enough not to compete with anything else, but grounding enough to hold the whole composition together. It made everything feel quieter. Now, stepping out of bed feels luxurious, no jarring cold floor underfoot. The rug defines the sleeping zone, making the space feel intentional, almost like a suite inside a boutique hotel. That's what I kept noticing. These small upgrades weren't loud, but they were decisive. Just one last natural touch was missing to breathe life into the final corner. Styling with intention. I used to keep a vase of flowers near the vanity, but they wilted too quickly, and I stopped bothering. But this time, after transforming everything else, I made space for greenery again, and I chose better. A tall, soft-stemmed eucalyptus bunch went into a neutral ceramic jug on my dresser, and a trailing pothos now sits on the floating shelf near my bed. Both low maintenance, both mood-lifting. The greenery connects the room to something living. After all the neutral tones and soft textures, it added contrast, color without chaos. More importantly, it added presence. Every time I walk in now, the space feels like it's breathing. Styling is the final whisper of personality. It's the part people often rush, but when done right, it elevates everything. The shelves held a mix of design books, ceramics, and one photo in a brass frame. At the vanity, a framed quote leaned casually against the wall. "Make space for beauty." Even the woven wastebasket was chosen intentionally. And with the natural elements in place, it was time for the finishing touch, capturing the feeling I'd been building toward all along. Finishing touches. This is where the magic settles in. A soft sandalwood diffuser by the bed, a catch-all dish for daily jewelry, a handwritten note tucked into the vanity drawer, reminding the owner to pause and breathe. We added a small rug under the reading nook, stitched with faded lines that echoed the rest of the palette. A calendar print hung near the vanity, with soft typography and neutral tones. Nothing felt loud. Everything felt right. The space was finally whole, and now it's time to show you just how far it's come. Final reveal. Here she is, once a blank utilitarian room, now a space that breathes softness, purpose, and beauty. The vanity glows with quiet elegance. The textures speak gently. The light is warm and forgiving. But most importantly, it reflects the person who lives here, her rituals, her rhythm, her story. And that, to me, is the mark of good design. Not just how it looks, but how it feels. Tell me, what would your dream space feel like? If you loved this transformation, you have to watch this next video.